Hi, I'm Pastor Kurt, and this is your 5-minute Bible study. Today, we're going to look at John chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. This is the story of the wedding at Cana. Now, that title is actually a little misleading because we don't actually hear about the wedding ceremony itself. We hear about the party afterwards. Back in that day, the wedding celebration would go on for days. It wasn't like for our culture, where you have the big day of the wedding and the party. No, this would stretch on for days and days. But we don't hear about the ceremony. We don't even hear who the bride and groom were. All we hear about is the party and what Jesus did. Imagine that you were the bride and groom that day. This is your special day. You've been planning for it. You invited your friends and your family. You even invited Jesus and his mother, and they showed up. It was a wonderful day. But nobody remembers that. Nobody remembers the bride and groom. All we remember is Jesus, right? He sort of overshadowed the bride and groom on their special day. But he didn't want to. In this scene, of course, the party hosts run out of wine, which is a big social faux pas, right? You're throwing this big wedding celebration, don't run out of drinks. Well, Mary, Jesus' mother, spots this. Little side note, in the Gospel of John, she's never actually named Mary. She's only called the mother of Jesus. Of course, we know her as Mary. Anyway, she notices that the wine's run out, mentions it to Jesus, and he sort of blows her off. Says, basically, why does that concern me? Well, then she ignores his comment, turns to the party hosts, and says, do whatever he tells you to do. At which point she basically voluntold him, right? Volunteered him without him volunteering himself. She voluntold him that he was going to do something. And so the party host turned to him and be like, okay, what are we supposed to do now? Jesus, of course, tells them, hey, you see all those jars over there used for the Jewish purification rites? Like, yeah, they're full of water. He's like, scoops them out, take it to the chief steward. They scoop them out, they give it to the chief steward, and the chief steward is amazed that it's not water, but it's wine. This is the part that we often focus on, right? Jesus did a miracle, he turned water into wine. But notice in the story what they focus on. We tend to focus on the fact that Jesus took a whole lot of water and turned it into a whole lot of wine. In the story, they don't focus on the quantity of the wine. They focus on the quality of the wine. When they taste the wine, they say, normally at a party, you serve all the good wine first. Then when the guests are too drunk to tell a difference, you bring out the inferior stuff. But you have saved the good wine until now. That is what shocks them, that this is good stuff. Yes, there happens to be a whole lot of it too, but they're amazed at the quality of it, not the quantity of it. It's a wonderful story, but what does it really do in our lives today, right? Well, it helps us see a few important things. First, it reminds us that Jesus shows up in everyday events, like weddings, right? This wasn't some event where people were looking for Jesus to do something. No, they were going there to have a wedding and to celebrate the bride and groom. Nobody expected Jesus to do anything here. But he did, right? Jesus shows up in our everyday lives, in everyday events. Also, when he does something, it's often a surprise, right? Nobody was expecting him to turn this water into wonderful wine, but he did. And he did it sort of quietly. Nobody blew a big trumpet. Nobody made a grand announcement like, hey, Jesus made all this wine for us. No. Jesus just did it and kind of went about his business and then left them all stunned like, wow, where'd this good wine come from? Right? He wasn't there to draw attention to himself. In his comment to Mary, he even said, it's not my time yet, right? My hour has not yet come. We see that phrase show up a few times in the Gospel of John. My hour is not yet come. It's not time for me to reveal to people who I am. Even so, he still did this miracle at this wedding to help out this bride and groom and their guests. He didn't make a big deal of it, but he still did it for them. And when Jesus does something in our lives, it's quality stuff. Jesus arrives in our lives in everyday things. He surprises us, and what he does for us is good quality. Maybe you've seen Jesus do wonderful things in your life, and I bet that those things have all been of wonderful quality. This is how the story of the wedding at Cana connects to us today. There's your 5-minute Bible study. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.